and we hit a couple poses. And when I went to do the quad stomp, I strained my hamstring a little bit, like, because I hit it so hard, and I wasn't, I'm not used to doing these kind of poses, and the adrenaline was going. We're back. We're back for episode number
87.
87.
How does he know that you
This
don't?
time I nailed it because I looked.
No, he looked before because he studies this. He's, he's the king of the journals,
You know why? Because that's his age.
So-
now his fans are going to flame me.
So many different titles I'm going to give you.
Okay.
Coach of the year.
Yeah, that's the best one. Yeah,
We're going to see if you're the coach of the year actually come November.
There is a
2nd
chance.
weekend.
There is a very good chance if I have a winner, right? And
Yeah, no,
Top contenders.
There's one winner that we're talking about for the Olympia that you think could happen.
I'm convinced it could happen.
Is it going to happen?
You never know that, but
How many weeks
for
now?
sure.
13 weeks
13
now?
weeks out, yeah. 13 weeks out. Super committed, zero in on the prize. Okay, you competed before. Mm-hmm. You dethroned unbeatable Ronnie Coleman. So if anybody would tell you back in the day, are you out of your mind, what are you going to say?
No.
Just keep.
What's funny, though, is that, we look back at the Olympia, and, it's kind of funny that people's thought process or predictions or assumption is like, well, so-and-so placed X last year, so that means automatically they're going to be there or they're going to move up, right? And we've seen, for example, who we're going to talk about today, Hunter, who was 4th and then fell to 7th last year. We saw like Gustavo place 3rd for 2 years and then
Slip down.
down. Dennis Wolf, we've seen place high and then
5th and then out of top 15.
Yeah, which is crazy, and obviously there's adjustments that made, but it seems like once people get the groove, they seem to be in the rhythm to be in the top placings, which we can assume Samson, Nick, Derek, Toddy, Rami was there.
Yeah.
Brandon Curry, who we've kept out of this equation.
Conversation because we didn't know if he's competing, and
Yeah.
it looks like he is competing, right?
He sent me a pretty cool birthday message.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, happy birthday. And for everybody that hasn't seen, check out the YouTube. Your condition in that guest posing was Olympia condition. Jesus Christ. I look at the quality, you and Regan, it's like, oh, you're ahead of Regan for a couple of weeks.
You know what it was is, how like, this is one of those things where these guys, want to hit you don't know what you look like till you get under lights, right? So here I am every day, and I evaluate my body, and like I said, this goal was never to be comparable to what I used to be. Yeah. We know that, and even compared to an Olympia contender such as Regan, right? He's not qualified, but he's been there, right? So you don't know what the assumption is. Like, you hit a couple shots, and granted, there's no quarter turns, and I know you wanted to see more. And it was very, how can I say this, Matt? It was very, it was like a surprise kind of thing. Because I was yelling at Angie a little bit. I was like, hey, why are you leaving the booth? Because the dogs were at the booth, and, she's like, don't worry about it, whatever. And I didn't realize they were giving me a whole birthday presentation. And it was pretty amazing because you didn't see this part, but and the place was packed. Yeah. They sang happy birthday to me, which was very touching. Yeah, so the Fit Expo, I've been there with the Fit Expo since 2003. It was their first one. And I haven't really missed any. So, remember, it's just not just L.A., it's Anaheim, San Jose, San Diego, Chicago, Philadelphia, everywhere. So, for me, I've been a part of the whole event, and for them to present me with this massive cake and like to sing happy birthday, they made this huge 50 card, and it's a huge milestone for me, right? Half century age that we never plan on getting to. And I can't tell you, and I still have to put out something on my Instagram, and it includes all of you guys on there and all of our viewers and everything. I was very touched because every birthday I'm always shocked more and more how many people reach out to me and wish me a happy birthday or tag me in some sort of photos or do some sort of post that is a memory. And we live on memories. And I can tell you at 50, I appreciate it a lot more than at 30. And you reach milestones in your career on what you do. And I think it's just like with you, okay? People are more receptive to you today than they were 30 years ago.
Possibly, yeah.
No,
For sure.
I think for sure.
You're more popular now than you've ever been.
Yes, that you're more popular. So, when all of you guys included, and the fans and like people in the industry and people outside the industry, people I've touched from all over the planet, right? Send me a message and say, hey, I'm wishing you the best. And the friendships I made, the acquaintances, the business, matters I've done with people. It means so much to me. And 50 was a huge milestone for me. Yeah. I'm sure it was for you.
Yes, for sure. But let's put it this way. You're very humble, and you never think what kind of impact you leave on the people around you. You never step on anybody. You always climb up on your own and respecting everybody else, treating everybody the way you want to be treated. And I'm sure that they're all delighted to wish you a happy birthday. And probably all the messages, I heard you have 90 minutes of recording.
And that's a touch of probably people that were able to send, or even that were reached out, hey, we're doing this little collage, which it's a personal thing for me. It was pretty cool. Mm-hmm. But I sat there the morning of my birthday in my home theater, and Angie says, I have a surprise for you. What do you buy a guy that has everything, right? And I begged her, please do not throw me a party, and please don't buy me anything that is of monetary value. I tell everyone around me, everyone's time is the best gift you can give me. Yeah. And
no
this time that we've spent, more time than we ever have, right? I mean, we considered ourselves friends or acquaintances for years, but now, we kind of do this business together, right? I respect you, you respect, and you learn the person a little more, right? Really we're both passionate about what we do. So it was awesome. It was an awesome birthday, and,
But we talk about the posing, right? So for you to get in this kind of condition, I told you just 2 minutes ago, that's Olympia kind of condition, 2 weeks out, super lean. And then I heard what it took, 2 hours a day of cardio.
Well, 90 minutes, but that's since there was one trigger that I don't know where I was posing. And I think even you said something to me, and I realized, okay, I got to step this up, because my nutrition is not precise as you could, and obviously the substance, here I am in uncharted territory. Like normally if I was training and saying I'm going to peak at this, it's like, okay, what anabolic am I going to do for this or that, where I'm not, I didn't really touch anything necessarily. It was just like a little test and a little Anavar, right, to get to where I got to, with no GH or anything like that.
Nothing even that.
No.
Jesus. Yeah.
It's funny, when we were getting this birthday thing for him together, I didn't tell anybody. I told Angie didn't. Nobody knew for the Fit Expo. Just me,
on stage,
Jane, and one other person. Mm-hmm. And then about an hour before, I said to Angie, you have to get Jay up here. Just because I didn't know if you'd go up there. And I said, there's more than you know about. Because I didn't want to tell anybody. I didn't want to leak out. So I said to Regan, you're going to go up there. You're going to call Jay up. He already knows this. But he had no idea the Fit Expo people are coming around with the card and the cake and the happy birthday and stuff.
So just in order, Regan went there first. Regan posed.
So what happened was this. Regan was off to the side, and he was handing out the overall award. We wanted it to seem as natural and normal as possible. So once he was up there, they said, hey, why don't you hit a couple shots with the overall? He knew this. Jay was off to the side, and he said, why don't you come up here and hit a shot with me? So that part was planned. But as Jay walked up, they had everything else coming around the side, and he had no idea.
Yeah. But so my question was, why not 2 minutes of posing and Jay Cutler signature lines and triceps and side chest?
I'm gonna give you guys a little behind the scenes. So,
all right.
So first of all, Regan never got to call me out, I don't think, because the shirt already was coming off as I was walking up, because we had talked about hey, let's hit some shots. Regan felt comfortable enough, and I think for him, it's like, I can pose with Jay Cutler, right? He did a mural in his gym of me. I'm honored, right? I don't realize, because I'm buddies with him, that he respects me like that, right?
every single day. What would Jay do?
Yeah, so
in
I mean,
everything?
he's training legs right now, doing the
Yeah.
Jay Cutler workout. So
CC workout.
So, so it's kind of like, hey, what are our expectations? So the shirt came off, you know, and we hit a couple poses. And when I went to do the quad stomp, you know, I strained my hamstring a little bit, like, because I hit it so hard, and I wasn't, you know, I'm not used to doing these kind of poses, and the adrenaline was going, because I'm like, damn, I looked out, and Milos, there was a
There's
lot
4,000 to
of
5,000 people.
It was
serious.
packed, like the whole place.
So you have
was
to play it off.
So,
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh fuck, I'm like, what am I doing? You know? So I kind of was like, okay, and you know, I just hit a couple shots, but I wasn't gonna go toe to toe and hit back shots. Regan, I mean, I look good in a couple poses, and you know, the shoulders aren't there, and like the midsection's lean,
Dramatically improved
right?
from a month ago,
but,
man.
But I mean, give me another 8-10 weeks. I mean, I think I could really transform. And listen, if I really wanted to jack the weight up a little bit, dude, I'm only 230. So for me, I'm not trying to go there. My whole goal was to be in great shape for the Masters, maybe get up there, give a speech, and pull the shirt off, hit the same thing I did, but prematurely I let it go, and people saw a taste of what I was working towards. And
do a little bit more, because listen, I don't want to say this is the last time in history and, you know, ever, but it might be, you know, because I mean, last time on the stage.
No, I mean posing.
Posing on the stage.
I'll pose again.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think I think I can be better at 55. I think I can be, you know.
You can pose again. Well, good. Then you
No,
keep
I'm
this
not.
going.
I'm not saying like I need. Like, that makes it sound like I need the recognition. I mean, dude, the stage is, your flaws come out, right? And I should have shown the legs, but I felt like, you know.
You actually rolled up the shorts and hit, and look, Regan rolled up and let it go. He didn't want
I tried to
go
get
the
Phil
stuff.
Heath to kind of hit some shots too, because Phil
And
came
Andrew
walking out.
was standing up
Yeah,
there.
and
Phil, Mo,
I said to Andrew, I said, please don't take your shirt off now.
because he's 2 weeks out.
He's 2 weeks out. Yeah, but regardless, I mean, this is historical moment to think you did yourself proud. All the fans. I mean, I'm getting messages. Hey, why is Jay not doing a Masters? I mean, what would that do for Jay? And you don't understand, once you're at that level, you always compare yourself to that level, right? And yeah, as good as you look right now, you would not consider ever,
I think I'm going to compete with Phil Klahar or Kamal or.
Yeah.
Come on.
Max Charles is going to be good too.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly. I mean, I'm leaving out people. I mean,
There's guys that are still
Yeah.
competitive
Freddie
at the top
Smalls looks good right now. He just won the Masters at
Yes, I've seen it.
you know, Chris is working with
Yeah.
him, and
You are almost natural. When
I
mean, if you do just test and a little bit.
I know, but it's still enhanced. You know what I mean?
I know. I'm gonna make that shirt almost natural.
I saw.
I'm so sick of that.
I saw a bunch of people commenting on one of the videos. Hey, I can't believe he's doing this at his age. He's pushing the envelope, and I'm sitting there thinking, like, what he really did was just up the food and cardio. There's nothing real
the
different.
6 meals a day make a huge difference. It's a lot of work. I have my meals here in the cooler. You know what I mean? So it's like, I'm very particular with the nutrition, but I'm not perfect. But you see the meals I'm eating. I mean, I can show you that
Super clean?
It's plain chicken and plain
Rice.
steak from Trifecta today, like, with a little bit of sea salt.
But by the end of the day, is this like too much? You feel like, oh shit, I don't want to eat this.
It's a lot of work, but I'm really hungry for 6 meals. When you do 90 minutes, like I do an hour this morning, I'm still on the cardio. But we went to eat. I had some cheesecake, and I had, the next night we had
chicken and rice at Cheesecake Factory.
Yeah, I had chicken and rice, but then we ate some dessert, and then we ate the next night at Mastro's.
Yeah, Mastro's
and
and steak.
like 2 nights in a row, and then I had like
he had a couple bites of dessert.
Yeah, I just wanted to see all the signature poses of Jay.
Maybe he will at the Masters.
And the sequences.
I know, but the body's still kind of a mess, dude. You know what I mean?
Just show what you feel comfortable with, but make those transitions. Speaking of that posing, right? And I constantly criticize people, not to criticize them, but just to make them aware you can do better. I mean, even now, Hunter Labrada, who is a son of greatest poser, ever.
Arguably, yeah.
Yeah, for me, it's no question. Lee Labrada didn't have a microsecond on the stage that was not calculated, angled perfectly, like facial expression, every direction, finger was perfect. Hunter he has a good sense of posing, but still this pose and that pose, and does it connect it perfectly. Hunter would, Lee would do just perfectly. Any transition, quarter turns, everything. If arm leads, continues, there is not wasted move. So these are kind of things we understand. They're not going to judge posing routines, absolutely. But what you present on that stage, you have a couple of minutes. You have to shine. There is not a second that you should lose ability to
If
shine.
I felt a little more confident about, my peak, and I peaked for it and, pulled a little water, I think I would have felt a little
Did
better.
you take a diuretic?
No. I didn't even plan.
You take one for the podcast.
I took a diuretic for today.
Yeah, I don't know. We didn't really plan it. I mean, you saw what I was eating and whatever else,
Just winged it.
Yeah,
I mean,
so
you were born dry.
let me ask you a question, though.
Yeah.
Speak about Lee Labrada. It seemed like he did the Olympia, and then he stepped into that Arnold that year and finished 5th.
Yeah.
Remember that? You remember what year that was?
93.
Was that a
93.
mistake for him to do that? Why was he doing so well at the Olympia, and then once he got on that stage, was that the end of that era? Or
Well, let's put it this way. I'm 99% sure that was 93, right? That's Flex Wheeler beating. Yeah, that's what
I
it
think
is.
so.
But why did he decide to do it?
Up until that moment, listen, he was confident. He was placing second to Lee Haney, and he's a top notch. Nobody counted on Flex Wheeler, Paul Dillette. At that time, there was who else was there? Vince Saylor was there. Sean Ray was there, right? So. I mean, it was not a mistake. It's just Flex Wheeler, as we all know, especially 93 when he turned pro, he won first 4 shows, including those 2 Ironman and Arnold Classic when he beat Lee Labrada. Labrada was 212 guy, right?
How much
in
was
open
he at
division.
max, you think?
I would assume 200 at the most.
He when he did that show in '93, he guest posed in Schenectady, New York, in early June or end of May, at my first show I competed in. So he must have just got done with the shows because he was in good shape. And I remember seeing him, and I didn't think much until he pulled his clothes off, and I was like, "Wow, I can't believe."
Yeah, but
the
here
size,
it is. I mean, look, you place close second in 2001, and then 2002 you enter Arnold Classic, and it was a big gamble, if you would think. What if you lose the momentum? So as we're talking about the Hunter now, winning the Tampa and going into the Texas, good idea, bad idea. Last time, the way you talk about it, it's like he's not going to do it, and I commend him for doing it.
Yeah.
And now that he's doing it. Initially, I didn't think he can beat Andrew Jack, but now I do think that he can beat him.
He can. Yeah. I mean, it's either one could win. We'll just have to see how it plays out.
Yeah. You mentioned before we started, and you asked both of us, can Andrew Jack win the Olympia? Since first time we talk about Andrew Jack, you said yourself, and I agreed that, yeah, he can be Olympia. His structure is just about perfect. I mean, just about perfect. Nobody is 6 foot whatever, and wide shoulders and everything is there. He just need to fill it up, which we didn't realize from Texas. His that pro debut that he looked phenomenal. By the Olympia, when you see him at Arnold Classic UK, when he didn't look that phenomenal. I mean, he was still winner and all that stuff, but it was not like this guy's going to win the Olympia with that. And then at the Olympia, condition was dramatically improved, but then you can see the lack of size in certain angles.
He was sick for the whole month going in the Olympia.
I understand that too.
Yeah.
So the question is, that's the same Texas stage that he performed last time, and look, he was such a standout. I remember talking to Chris Cormier and Dennis at the same time. We were watching a live stream, like, oh my God, that kind of dominance, that kind of stand out, man and the boys. I haven't seen this for a long time. Yeah. So now I was thinking, okay, he's going to be improved to last year's edition, but Hunter Labrada is coming, and Hunter Labrada was at his all-time best. We discussed a little bit. Hunter won every single show he ever entered, except at the Olympias. So I think he was 8, 2002, then 4, 2012, 21, right, and seventh last year. So these are the only shows that he has lost. Yesterday I was there with Nick Walker in Torture Gym, and we talked just briefly, and I said, like, look, I mean, Hunter beats you, and he was in less than great condition, 2021, right? On merits of what? I mean,
Shape.
Yeah, he has tremendous shape, and as we're gonna probably discuss Tampa, right? His size. I mean, I don't even know how heavy and big he is, but he made John De La Rosa look small.
Yeah.
And I didn't expect that. Okay, so
You want to go over to the Tampa show?
yeah.
Sure.
All right. So,
So first disappointment again is a very few entrants. I don't know, 7, 8
Seven.
guys, which is clearly disappointing. But here, top 3 look very good.
go ahead.
So you're friends with John, and I watched
Yeah.
John through the years. Usually, I'm impressed with his completeness and shape, enough thickness, enough muscle, enough everything. Conditioning was sometimes, it can be better. But even less than perfectly conditioned, he would place higher than I would expect it. So now he's improving his condition.
So he had a bicep tear at the 2020. He tore his bicep. He had to have it repaired. So he hasn't competed in almost 3 years.
Yeah, I know.
So this is his second show in 3 years.
Very impressive, but size next to Hunter Labrada. Like, if you would ask me this before, I would say there's not that much difference. But now when I've seen the video and some
Hunter's a
pictures,
big
like,
boy, man.
holy mackerel,
big.
yeah.
He's big.
And guy that placed third was Lewis
Breed.
Yes. And I don't know. I've seen he's representing UAE. I thought that he was an English guy. I talked to him briefly. I was very impressed with his condition going into the show. And I think this is very impressive conditioning, but not as good as he was like going into.
So what do you say here?
I mean,
Dissect it.
this is lights out Hunter.
Yeah.
It's what Ronnie Coleman said to you, right?
Yeah.
Lights out, game over. Back the whole bicep. Okay.
Yeah, just the width. And, Hunter's condition here is, we criticized Hunter with conditioning from,
Many times. Yeah.
even when he was winning, right?
So he's always lean. He's consummate professional that 8 weeks out, 6 weeks out, 4 weeks out. When you look at his pictures on Instagram, it's damn, it's like zero skin, fibers all over the place. And then a couple of times he would be just off. I mean, he would.
It just seemed like a fluid retention. You hear about these absurd, nutritional type programs he was doing with the shakes and blending food and this and that. And, supposedly now with, if the media is correct, he's actually been eating. But it's so easy for us to sit back on a podcast or our views and say, his dad was, arguably Mr. Olympia at one point. Why isn't the dad taking him under the wing and teaching him the right things? But, everybody's different. When you have a bigger body such as Hunter's and, you're trying to really fill those gaps, that makes what Lee did. It doesn't mean his son
Wait, don't change the
can
pose.
do that. But, this is where, from my take, we've talked about Hunter, not only condition, but we talk about the width that he has.
Yeah.
So,
And we talk about width before, and the width factor is a huge, huge advantage.
that was your ticket to win pretty much
Yes.
in many shows, yeah. And Andrew Jack is wide as a door. And I told you before the podcast that Hunter actually has a chance to beat him in front lat spread, which I would never think before, knowing how good Andrew Jack is. But when you look at here, I mean, a differential from shoulders and lats to the waist is ridiculous, right?
I can tell you looking at the two guys standing next to,
Yeah.
okay, Hunter is a huge, huge tissue work guy. Okay, Mario, I know, is working on his body all the time, allowing the flexibility. Look at each guy, and it could be because they're mid-pose or whatever else, but I see Hunter's ease with the pose, meaning he can really get the flexion. And remember, when you have that ability to pose full advantage and open up, that means you're training the same way, right? And that's one advantage. I know you're not a huge tissue work,
I was cheap.
advocate. Okay, but it makes a big difference. And you can see here how wide and opened up Hunter is.
Yeah, true. Just to mention this, I heard back in the day you would fly from Vegas to Steve Murphy.
I would fly on my
twice
day,
a week.
Once a week.
Once a week.
And then I had tissue people here.
Yeah.
So my day off, one day a week, was spent flying to Steve Murphy, taking a taxi from John Wayne over to his office, 1 hour, right back in the taxi, and fly home.
Yeah.
Dedication. I was doing the same thing when Derek Farnsworth was working on me, and I was using Derek Farnsworth's therapist also, Jeff down there in San Diego, and I would do the same trips. Dennis Wolf did the same. Yeah. Dennis Wolf was doing it because he realized the potential to allow the restriction, to ease up, because posing is everything, being able to open the body.
I tell you this, I was kind of split because for me that was kind of luxury, okay, which was not. But I said, the same money that I'm wasting here, I can send to my mom, and I would feel much better. Right? But when you think that this is your body is your business, and the improvements in your body can make a difference dramatically, I kind of regret not doing it, and I know that Regan is doing it now big time. The frontal spread that you showed, as Jay instantly noticed, he opened up completely, and when you look at his shoulders are all the way out. Both John and Lewis had the shoulders a little bit in, and it's probably, they don't even realize, right? They just didn't really open up the rib cage and expand as much as they can. And that's what made the Labrada look so much wider. Now, back poses, we're going to analyze later, Andrew and maybe Hunter, pose by pose. But this is devastating back double biceps. And 2 days before the show, if you've seen it, MI40 gym, that back double biceps it was state of the art. I actually had to comment because I haven't seen bone dry, low lats insertions, fibers everywhere, and then look at the detail upstairs: shoulders, arms, biceps, triceps, rhomboids, straps, everything. And John De La Rosa looked phenomenal in this pose too, right? But then width of what the Jay Cutler had before, dominates.
It's still a muscle contest.
It's still a muscle contest, and as good as John De La Rosa looks, I think that was clear here. Okay, I must say I sent you that judging score sheet, and there was some mess up there. There was they didn't calculate it correctly. I would just assume that Hunter won straight first place across the board, but
he didn't.
The second round, John De La Rosa had 6 points, and Hunter had 5, which is there's something there. I don't know how is this possible, because I wouldn't think that
John's
John
comparable in this shot. John
it's very comparable, but
I
actually think John.
I mean, John's got a little more hamstring core. There's just certain things you look for, but John, he's in the pose. I don't even know if Hunter's in the pose, but do you remember when Hunter was being criticized for the lower lats?
Yeah.
I mean, look at here.
Yeah,
I mean, just goes to show when you're full and you're tight. A lot of it has to do with landing the fullness and having the lats pop out and not being depleted and everything else. But John is no slouch here, guys. First and second's pretty competitive. I don't know about third in this shot. He's not even in the pose
shot
yet. But with Hunter, I'd love to see a little, like I said, more detail. The lower body is, the legs are phenomenal, right?
Yeah.
Obviously he's figured out the bone dry type look. That's where this shot, Andrew's got to figure something out and be better than before, because if Hunter's like this and Andrew is like he's been, even with more size, Hunter will beat him.
Okay, so you're going to go pose by pose, but I agree with you. This is why when I start analyzing,
this is where Andrew needs to pay attention. And the condition like this with enough size is going to challenge him
So, look at that. I mean, Arnold Classic, Andrew was leaning back in the back double biceps pose like he's a tower in Pisa, the Italian. It was like, oh, why are you doing this? And Steve Weinberger, when he teach him in Dragon's Lair, back double biceps, he told him to stay upright. And I don't know why so many people just lean and keep leaning and, lean way too far. Especially for somebody like Andrew. If you lean, you shorten your torso. And, so this way you widen it, you cover more space.
I would spend, what do we have, 2 weeks?
Week?
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
It's not this weekend, it's the following
Okay.
weekend.
Okay, so it's a week and a half.
Yeah.
I would definitely, Andrew, work on the posing the next 10 days because that's where you're going to shine. And that's where Hunter may have a little more experience because he's competed a lot more than Andrew and be able to showcase that physique. Because we all know if Andrew can showcase his physique to full potential, genetically, tie-ins, all of it, he can do so much more damage if he's perfect with his posing. Where
detail and striation, striated
just
chest,
crazy,
striated
yes,
quads.
just everything. The midsection, the abs pop,
intercostals,
yes. So you have to showcase those strengths because if he just goes pose for pose and doesn't showcase those, he's going to be challenged here.
I use the term pound for pound. Of course, there is no such a thing in bodybuilding. But pound for pound, when you look at Hunter Labrada
Looks great.
Against Andrew, who is more massive?
Andrew's bigger, for sure, just because he's
Yeah,
just physically
Hunter's
bigger.
just
But
more
Hunter's-
compact, but
Really,
really,
pound for pound.
really, guys, I mean, we've gone through a couple poses. Where's Hunter weak? That's the question. Not a lot of weaknesses.
Okay, well, we're going to go to the next one. Lat spread goes from Tampa to Texas. Like I said, he's really super wide. Super small waist, too. Okay. Side chest. See,
John looks good here.
so John looks good, and let's analyze it. Like Fuad and Dennis and a few people say, like, I'm too harsh when I analyze it. I mean, I don't want to sugarcoat it, just like point out something. I don't think that Hunter has great chest, especially because he tore the chest, right, left side. But he has a very good, and he hides it, right? And then he looks excellent in side chest pose. So Andrew Jack has a crazy chest, but he's going to lose the side chest to Hunter. I can see it happen, but just overall thickness from the side, glutes, hamstring, calves, and then upper body. Hunter is master of illusion and presentation. I would probably stick a chest up just another inch and turn the shoulder another inch, and you would create a crazy illusion.
I think the concern with Hunter is because of that pec tear, he doesn't really contract the pecs that much. Am I right or wrong?
Yeah, but you see, he's showing the left side, which I don't understand, right? Because you would assume if it's left tear.
I know some people's sides look better than others. I have a right and a left difference,
Yeah, I know. I used to try left side chest, and I suck. I mean,
it's like side tricep. I can only do from this side.
this side,
get my
yeah.
elbow back,
Yeah. So, I mean, Hunter looks tremendous.
I mean, guys,
here.
I still prefer our third place guys' position showing the abs and intercostals. I mean, this is still, that's impressive side chest too. Like to show, I think, we talk about side chest, but, we like to see intercostal. We like to see some stuff going on there too.
The more detailed, more muscle you show, the better.
Yeah.
I always think, so. Ooh.
What do you think?
Hunter is devastating in the side triceps. This is the first time actually I see him in conventional stance. Usually he does
That one leg
I
during
I think he
style.
puts the foot out afterwards, yeah.
Yeah. So what does he do first? This or the other one?
I think this first.
And then steps up.
I mean, listen, if Hunter had more ab control here, and it could be in between, he could be devastating this pose. Because he's got the cap tricep,
He is super devastating in side triceps. I think he can contest the best in the world in side triceps and possibly even win. What I see here which I don't see many times, that his ab control and separation is quite good here. That's one comment that I've seen. Even when he does an ab shot, he doesn't have a clear separation. And here he has it. If you have it in one pose, in the 1 second, you can have it forever. You just have to freeze the moment and realize what you're doing here. So I'm glad you showed me these pictures. I haven't seen it before. This looks
Look
like...
at the leg separation between the hamstring and the glute. And,
I
I mean, can you imagine in person how deep that is? And I mean, we're looking at stage lighting and tan and everything else that makes a difference on people's body. But I mean, I can't imagine his condition like in real life, because we're looking at, I hate to say this, but crappy pictures, you know? I mean, everything we know, it doesn't show the same story, right?
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. You know, this is what I'm talking about here, right? So if you cover everything else and you just show the abs, okay, I don't know about Lewis, if he just didn't breathe out and crunch it down, but only John De La Rosa has a beautiful abs, deep, flat stomach, glued to the spine, linea alba, everything else. I talked to Hunter maybe like over a year ago. You know, that I would tell him to do the hanging leg raises and you know, the high pulley cable crunches. I stick my nose maybe where it doesn't belong, just to tell him I would like to see him improve. And when you do those poses, right, when you do the high pulley cable crunches, you have to feel that pull, stretch, separation between the abs, and then crunch it down. So pretty much when you crunch down, you should be in an ab pose on the stage. So you should clearly see your abdominals. When you do the hanging leg raises, if you don't think about it, you're going to pull from hip flexors. And then it's just the exercise. No. Again, just zero in on the ab wall and separate. So with each leg lift, you have to see that lower pair being separated. I think it's possible to do it. Maybe he should try with not squeezing super hard. You just kind of get in a position, straighten, and then just forget about arms, shoulders, legs, anything. Just zero in on the on the abs, and the only job is make that separation. Glue to the spine, make a separation. Because I see there's potential there, but I've never seen it on a stage. And another thing that we talk about, I ask you who does that. Right before the in many poses, they do this, right? And I told you, why would anybody do this? If you do this before you open up, you know, in front of biceps or whatever, you're covering your abs. It's clear indication you're not confident. You know, you try to hide it. And I know many guys that do that. And if you think you're fooling the judges, you're not. You know, you're pointing out, oh, now pay attention to what's under. Yeah. Okay, here. Abs are considerably better here. You see that separation between first and second? Yeah. It's only, again, a little bit bloat in a lower abs. So air had to be completely pushed out and glued. And then keep that position, because now it's, if you cover the one side, his left side is just about perfect. Of the abs, everything else is tremendous. Yeah. So, who wins the most muscular pose, Andrew or? You have to see them next to each other, of course. But
it's, you know, like with Andrew, it's the illusion, and until you put them next to each other, it's kind of hard to. I've watched other people assessing this, but it's when you're standing next to someone who's 6 inches taller than you, it you just have to see what they look like next to each other. Yeah. I mean, they were next to each other at the Olympia as far as placing, so.
And Hunter beat him.
Yep.
Right? So
we'll see.
Going into the show, I think that the Hunter would be a Las Vegas favorite. Huh?
Probably.
Because
he beat him the last time they faced.
Yeah.
So, therefore, he's ahead. Obviously, Andrew did the Arnold, and there were people that had Andrew winning the Arnold. A good amount of people. But
are you saying for Olympia? Or?
Say?
Are you saying to win the Mr. Olympia?
No, to win Texas next week.
Texas, yeah.
Between Andrew.
I mean, look, everything is possible. Okay, today.
Can this Hunter compete with the top 3 at the Olympia?
I mean, he can compete. I don't know if he would beat them.
I think he can.
Dennis James said today he see him clearly in top 5, right? But then I'm analyzing who is going to be top 5.
You're pushing out.
Yeah, so who do you get out?
I mean, Rami was 5th last year.
Yeah, and Brandon was
Samson
4th.
Wasn't so.
Yeah, we haven't seen Brandon for a whole year, and if he's making a comeback, that might be a last hooray, and he might be in a crazy shape.
Do they push Mr. Olympia out of the top 5?
Brandon?
Yeah, especially when you're like as quality as him. It's hard to imagine him being out of the top 5, right? When he was 4th last year, and
yeah. But again, I think that it's most fair judging in the history of any sport.
I was 6th.
Yeah. So you see, they got you out of top 5. And Ronnie, what was Ronnie's last?
4th.
That's 2007, right? He didn't come back 2008.
No.
Okay, yeah, that was clear sign, and that was a gift.
For sure, a big name. For sure, a big name isn't going to be in the top 5 this year.
Yeah. So Hunter has he was 4th 2 years ago in less than favorable condition. So shape is there, no weaknesses, abs should be fixed. I would like to see more striations on his delts and chest. If you can stride your lats, that kind of training that you apply for the back should be applied for the chest. I mean, yesterday I trained with Regan, right? And still, I don't know how you do it. Today, Stefan Efferdring was talking about training with Flex Wheeler and how he always expand the chest and everything pushing to the chest. You don't involve your shoulders.
Keep the shoulders
back. Out. And if you see the video, because I'm sure that Regan's going to post it, he still includes the shoulders and pisses me off.
They're so powerful, his shoulders.
Yeah, but I don't want it. And then, yeah, I just want to shut off. I say, I think there is a switch on each muscle.
It's elbow position too,
Yeah.
A lot of it's elbow position.
He goes too close. Yeah. I know that the experts are saying don't flare elbows too much. It can be hard on your shoulders.
Everyone's different.
Yeah, but you want stretch maximally and contract. And I mean, you've seen some pictures of Regan's pump chest yesterday. It was tremendous, but it could be even more. So for Hunter, I haven't seen him train chest. Right? Actually, one time he did with Samson. They did machines, and I don't know.
Hunter trains hard.
Yeah, no.
Any other notables in here, guys? Where's John De La Rosa go from here? Is the question. Is he done for the season?
Yeah, he just needs to get bigger. He knows that. I spoke to him yesterday about it. He just needs to. He knows that. He finally found a way to get conditioned, but he just at the end of the day, it's still a muscle contest, and he just got beat by a guy that's just bigger.
I didn't see that coming. I thought that John is going to be very competitive in size. And
he was. I think he was competitive.
He was competitive in some of the shots, but Hunter's big.
The height definitely hurts a shorter
Hunter's
guy.
Hunter's 5'9" maybe.
Yeah, he's probably my height. Yeah.
I mean, and Hunter's wide. I mean, that illusion is. He looks. I mean, look, Hunter stood next to the best in the world, and he held his own.
Okay, now this is another question that just crossed my mind. How many people are competing in Texas?
I'm not sure. I don't know. But they don't show the lists ever. Oh, no. Didn't you send it to me?
No. I sent you the judging score sheets from
I'm sure it won't be a lot. If people see that Hunter and Andrew are in there, a lot of guys that want to qualify are going to skip it. They're going to.
Yeah, why bother, huh?
Yeah.
I mean, it should be. But let's mention, we didn't talk about the previous show. There was a
Big Man show.
Big Man show in Spain. And Roman Fritz finally won. I mean, that's consummate professional. There is 365 days a year, ripped to the bone, training 2 or 3 times a day. I worked with him for a while, and imagine when you ask for the plan. Okay, let me see what you're doing now. He was on 1,000 grams of carbs and 3 workout sessions a day. So hold on a second. What do you mean? Yeah, 3 a day. So you even mentioned today about hip replacement.
Yeah, it's already had a hip replacement.
I heard he had both, but I think there's only one.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
But regardless, have you seen his legs? His legs are phenomenal. One of the best legs in bodybuilding, and I don't know how he does it. So that was a great win for him and Olympic qualification. We all dream of that first Olympic qualification. I know how I was. Second place was Emir Omeragic, a young kid from Montenegro, Crisocido's guy. And he was ridiculous. That
Shredded, right?
He made Roman Fritz unconditioned.
He had glutes like the Hamdullah.
Yeah, Cutler.
The Turkish guy, yeah.
Hamdullah
Crazy.
Cutler, yeah.
And he's big, he's not...
He's a tall guy, and I don't know, some reports were that he kind of lost the thickness and fullness and completeness to achieve this kind of condition. But he tried fuller look for some other shows, and they didn't even put him in top 5. So this was the right thing to do, and he's super young, super motivated. He's going to be there. I mean, who can be, I think 23 years old, who can be in this kind of quality? I mean, you need maturity and density and hardness. He looked like he's seasoned pro. Every fiber upon fiber was there. And then third place, I think, was a 21-year-old Spanish guy, Jose Munoz or something. 21 years old, super ripped. I don't know what kids are eating nowadays, but I think the genes are kind of changing, and maybe...
Or the insulin protocol.
Probably not. No,
but, I think these, we look back, and I think, back in the 80s and 90s, I mean, it was a young man's game. I think we've kind of lost track of the potential of younger generational guys, which, obviously if you're a lot bigger, it's harder to attain that condition. But, there's been young guys in middleweights and light heavies that achieve phenomenal condition.
Yes.
At a young age.
Who is the best conditioned huge guy for you? I mean,
Like
you had a few
on
times.
The circuit?
Yeah, in the history, since you remember.
Dorian?
I mean, I mean, Ronnie Coleman from the backside, I thought, to have that kind of...
Art Atwood.
Glutes and hamstrings.
I just found some pictures of Art I was going to post in the memory. But you were super conditioned in many shows. The reason why I'm asking is because you kind of say, Hunter Labrada is 60 plus pounds heavier than his dad, and maybe he cannot achieve the same condition. Even when he told me this in Vegas. We were in the elevation gym, and I kind of wanted to be a smart ass, and I said, what size has to do with the muscle condition anyway? Muscle is muscle, 20, 30, 100 pounds more.
It's hard to maintain the fullness. That's the catcher.
But bigger is...
You just said Amir.
Amir, yeah.
He lost a little bit to get that condition.
Yeah.
To get the glutes in, you got to sacrifice
Yeah.
the back, or you know what I mean. Got the upper body. It's really hard for someone to come down and evenly get ripped in every single area, and that's what makes bodybuilding so great.
Yes. In all the shows that you did, when did you sacrifice fullness for condition?
When I did 99 against you.
You mean when I beat you?
Yeah.
You have to have that moment.
Feel good right
you
now.
have to have that moment in a podcast that I glorify myself. 99, you were ripped like crazy.
2004 Arnold. 2004
Four.
Arnold. My last one. I sacrificed size for condition. I was in great condition there.
So who would you give huge J or condition J?
Oh, I would. It would be like, blasting full and hard enough.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to chase Dexter Jackson for being,
yeah.
you know what I mean? I was chasing Dexter condition then.
But you see, this is, for, to be devil's advocate. So what do you do with certain guys? Condition. I have so many people just condition. If condition comes, as a sacrifice that you're going to now change the shape, because some guys fuller are shapelier and they come alive and they pop, right? And then to dry them out and to condition them, nothing happens.
The only way to really bring the ultimate physique is to do it with training and the least amount of cardio possible.
Yeah.
Which sometimes that's a longer term diet. That's a lot more of ups and highs and lows. But if you were to build the ultimate physique, cardio and building muscle, I believe, are totally they just counter each other.
But you said, like last time, if I remember, Hani Rambo gave you more food and more cardio.
Yeah, but I don't believe that was the ideal combination either. People would question that 2009 was not my best. 01 could have been my best, and that was no cardio for 10 weeks.
01 or 03 Ironman.
Yeah, I wasn't killing cardio then.
03 Ironman.
I mean, 03 Ironman, I was just training twice a day, Milos. I was walking the dog for cardio, which, that might have lasted for 10, 15 minutes, and that might have been big enough, to move that big body. Remember, moving a 280-pound body is going to take a lot of calories compared to moving a 220-pound body. So the guy that's on the stairs or the treadmill or has slow metabolism, I wasn't a thyroid user either.
No?
No. So that's
not even a little bit?
No.
But T3 should be, I mean, for people that don't know, T3 increases protein synthesis.
Of course, I understand.
Right.
I mean, you say you're supposed to use it if you use GH or whatever else.
Yeah,
but
listen,
I also didn't take anti-estrogens till later in my career. It's a lot of things I did. I never used propionate test. Like that kind of stuff where there's certain protocols that someone like you think that you necessarily need to have. But I can tell you, I did opposite, and I was still able to come in. I drank Coca-Cola.
No.
You know what I mean? Where people say, "Oh, you can't drink soda and get ripped for a contest." I mean,
okay, let's just clarify. After the insulin shot, you had the Coca-Cola. Let's just be real.
Okay, but are you protocoling your guys to drink Coca-Cola right now?
No.
Okay, so
but I did say publicly once because they were saying, "Okay, glucose good. Can I have a gummy bears? Can I have a just whatever?"
What do you say?
And I was saying, okay, well, in theory, glucose is glucose, right? But what I've seen with the gummy bears and everything else, right? They have so many of those additives and emulsifiers.
Can you just get glucose tabs?
Glucose tablets is the best.
Of course, but
I love glucose tablets. Glucose is pure glucose. Your Coca-Cola is sucrose.
What about applesauce? What about honey? What about
when I
what about candy corn and Boston baked beans?
applesauce and jam and all this kind of stuff.
I used to eat a lot of those little applesauces.
Did you eat the baby food?
I never got into the baby.
Really?
I know you guys did.
Yeah, we did. I mean, it's like super easy to digest, and it was good. Plus, some people are starving, so they want more volume. I mean, back in the day when I was doing with Dennis James, and I tell him how much oatmeal to have, he would put like so much water to make stretch and be the bigger.
Of course,
one.
bigger, fill the stomach more. So tell me, Milos, what's their take on Hunter? Does he move up from 7th? This year's Olympia. Sure. Does he have the combination if he comes like this?
He is deadly. Listen, are
you nervous about him, or?
I mean, listen, I'm a fan. Of course, I'm training Samson to win, and hopefully Regan is gonna come and compete, and then I'm gonna hopefully like to pair them and go against each other, and push each other to do their best and let the best man win. I have zero issue with Nick Walker winning or Derek Lansford or Hadi. I love all those guys.
The best man should win.
My job is, I'm not nervous for the other ones. I'm not going to give that Derek speech like, I'm not concerned about anybody else, right? I just, concerned about myself. Same thing, me preparing with Regan. I want him to be at the all-time best, Samson, and then if Hunter deserves to beat him, I mean, we're going to be first one shaking his hand. He is absolute contender.
You know what's cool
about... He'll be
about...
the first call out for sure.
You know what's cool about history? If Lunsford wins this year, he'll be the first 212 and Open to win both.
Yeah, because I guess Hadi missed that opportunity to...
he went straight to the Open.
Straight to the Open, yeah. Straight to the Open.
Because Hadi won a 212 and an Open show, but they made him pick one, and he said, "I want to go
Mr. Olympia.
I want to go. I want to be Mr. Olympia. I don't want to do 212."
So the 212 showdown and the Open Mr. Olympia would be quite an achievement for Derek, and I think he's very convinced he's going to do it.
Very well, Ken.
I think Hadi has some things to say about it. I've seen crossing in media that it says Hadi's angry, or Hadi shouts back, or Hadi puts up this post. Is there such thing that is Hadi like, hey guys, don't forget about me? Is he putting that out there? Or
he doesn't need to. He was never a big talker. Just thinking of history. 2019, he was silent, came in. They decided to do the Open, not to 212. He placed third. He could have won, right? He was never,
I thought he should have won.
2020, I mean, he showed up 72 or 33 hours before the prejudging, right? And still, at the finals, he looked tremendous. 2021, he could have won the show. For me, knowing then what we know now, right? And if they really analyze Rami and Brandon and Hadi, they could have given out to Hadi. Hadi was just crazy ripped, complete. Maybe they're going to say he was penalized a little bit for shoulders not being anatomically correct, but we all know that's not, site injection. It was just something else.
You know what's scary? You watch the business of bodybuilding, okay? You watch me and Ronnie travel the world as the top guys. You watch Derek, you watch Nick Walker and, Samson. You watch these contenders. What has Hadi been doing since he got home?
Just training.
Yeah. He did a UK trip.
But he was working, dude.
He's training.
Yeah.
He's working. That's scary. That should scare everyone.
Do you see his workouts?
Yes, it's bananas. Yeah,
it's crazy.
I've noticed in the media, nobody does talk about him. They keep saying, "Is Derek going to win? Or is Nick going to win? Or is this person?" And nobody's realizing that. Nobody's talking about the fact that you still have to beat Hadi, and he could easily be a 4-time Mr. Olympia right now.
He could have, yeah. And listen, he's the first favorite going into the show.
Of course,
he's the first favorite because
I wouldn't bet against him.
If he improves the conditioning just a tad. So they're going to judge with his previous look, and he's going to be better. He's going to be bigger because he's building.
So if I were to ask you, where's his weakness?
Condition from the back was not exactly condition from the front
this year, but overall, the other years it was.
Even so, how we all have a front or back that is dominant. I don't know. You were still more ripped from the front and from the back, right?
Listen, to answer the question, Derek's just the best bodybuilder from behind, on the planet.
Yeah.
And Hadi from the front is the best bodybuilder from the front. Now, if you have someone that has a combination of both, or if one of those guys achieves similar, we have our top.
So,
it's going to be very hard to knock those two guys out of the top two position. I know you have high hopes for Samson, but
of course,
I don't know if Hunter is the one, or Nick's the one, or Samson, or
Nick is a huge.
Brandon jumps in there. Or,
Nick is huge. I saw him yesterday. It was ridiculous, and
I know, but separation is going to separate the top positions.
Yes, but if I can say about Hadi, still. I don't know if it's Chopan or Chupan. I really want to find out. I was calling him Chopan before, but then since Bob Chiquillo was calling him Chupan, I switched to that one. You got to go. Iranian guys are hardest working. They're so disciplined. I know so many, and I tell you, that's the next level. It's no such a thing as overtraining. There's no such a thing as hard diet. That's their life. Really. I want to say this, and then they're going to criticize me. Overtraining. No, this is Iranian way. It just balls to the wall every single time, and it builds championship physique.
I think Phil and I were talking about this over last weekend, and Hadi just has a different hunger than anyone. He lives in Iran where they have rolling blackouts. Yeah. They lose their power for a certain amount of time. He still finds a way to train. He lived in a hotel for a month just to get here. What he's had to do to get here, he has a different fire in his belly than a lot of these other guys do because of his condition, his living conditions, and how hard it is for him just to get here.
Yeah. What are the chances for Iranian guy that was a light heavyweight? I know when he turned pro, he was a light heavyweight. He beat my guy. And then the next day entered the Shiru Classic in Dubai, played second to Rolly Winkler. And when I see him light heavyweight next to the monster, making him look almost equal because of that crazy conditioning, how the crazy condition creates illusion of the size. He could have won that show. He could have won against Cedric McMillan in San Marino. He won in Vancouver against Diasha, and I think Jan Valier was there.
Yep.
I mean, he could have beat Flex in Korea, as we know. I mean, that's how good Hadi Chupan is, yeah.
He's a real
and
deal.
I don't think he's mad or anything. He's just focused. I had the pleasure of discussing with him a little bit, and maybe he doesn't speak as much English as he writes, and he told me he feels much more comfortable writing. I just absolutely love the guy. He's zero in focus, and he's going to show up at his best.
Yep.
Yeah. Did you see that? Like, what was it? 500 kilos.
Send me a happy birthday.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah.
Good.
There you go.
I asked Hani to have.
Yeah, he did it.
Oh, you
That's
did?
awesome. Yeah.
It was pretty cool.
He's so respectful.
You know what it is when you see him up there? He's just happy to be one of the guys. That's the vibe I get. He's just happy to compete.
He's a beast, man.
Yeah. I mean, we all know that he has a hearing a problem, and then maybe some people would take this against him, but not normal person is ever going to take this against him. Actually, he's going to appreciate him even more.
Yeah.
You know what though? It's kind of weird because we sit here and it's not about predictions, but it's about thought of like I root for him.
Yeah, always.
I'm rooting. I know what it's like to win the Mr. Olympia, and like you want to win it several times, right? So I'm like, man, let the guy win too. You know what I mean? But then I want to see Nick Walker win one, or Derek be like, I knew what second was. Like, oh my gosh, I would love to see Derek knock it out of the park and win it early and 30 years old and be like, okay, now have a good run, right?
Yeah.
I love to see it because I didn't win mine until 33, and it was like, damn, I waited that long. Where Ronnie was 34. I think Phil was a little younger. I think Phil was 31. But, like, the days of Haney winning at 22. But then, you see guys like Samson who, you just want to see these guys overcome obstacles. You want to see Brandon Curry come back and do what I did and win the title back after losing it. I want to see Rami. I'm still thinking like at the Arnold, I felt like he just didn't get the fair shot, you know?
I agree with you.
And, the more you look at it, and it's kind of funny as time goes on, and I was talking to Heath about this and looking at, looking at Heath still. Heath is still a beast,
He's still big.
And I want to see Heath come back. I think he's going to come back.
You guys, look at those faces. So that's a done deal, okay?
No,
it's a done deal. You guys, you can't fool me anymore.
But I'm gonna pick at him a little bit. I'm gonna be like Phil, because I still
he's still there, man. It's still there. If he turned the gas on just a little bit,
that gas only has to go up like
very little,
20%, bro.
Wow.
He still has all the, when he's injury
he's still round,
free, really.
He's healthy.
Yeah, round muscle.
I would love to see him do an Arnold because he never won in Columbus. And trust me,
don't. I know the podcasters are going to take this and be like, oh, would they know something? No,
100%. 100%.
But listen, man, I told Phil this. We had dinner, and I said, dude, like, you were almost untouchable through your reign, in my opinion. And like all it would take is just a little bit, man. He said something. If you come back, I'll come back. And I'm like, yeah, I can't do that.
Phil still has all the roundness. He still has everything there.
And I don't think he's training really.
He said he trains 2 or 3 days a week.
Listen, I'm going to tell you this for sure: that if Jay wanted to come back, you could come close to your best. I'm 100% sure. It just is worth it, and you spread in so many directions, and it's just not worth it.
My back would suck though.
Yeah.
The Christmas.
He's not going to be able to train that crazy heavy, grab 200-pound dumbbells anymore.
The Christmas tree with the pose that you were doing, but I tell you this because I forgot we talked about 2003 Ironman. You beat Melvin and Flex.
Wheeler,
the two most aesthetic guys, and your shape looked more aesthetic because of that width that you have, and then the conditioning. And I was like, I was blown away. For me, that's still the best look of you're the biggest ever. Sometimes you throw the numbers, and you told me the weight, and it's not even close.
267.
Oh, that one.
Yeah.
And 2009 Olympia, you were less.
254.
Okay. I mean, Ironman 2003 was the ultimate.
Yeah,
Probably because of the lights.
The legs were fuller and the shoulders
Fuller,
were fuller than 09.
back. There was a picture of you and Derem Charles when you did the biceps.
I was starting to fall apart
fibers.
in 09 already. The lats were starting to atrophy and all the,
And I still didn't see it. I still think that 2009 was phenomenal. Yeah.
Oh, it was.
Yeah.
I still don't think it was his best.
Yeah.
01 or 03.
Even though some of those pictures are photoshopped. Now I know better. because some of the pictures, right? I mean, it's nothing you can do about it. But, people would just adjust. And then, some of those pictures, that's why I said that you beat Ronnie at his all-time best. But then, somebody pointed out, hey, but this is not actual footage. That's what I mean. Yeah.
What else? So when are we having you back on?
I don't know.
After Texas? Or?
Probably right after Texas, and probably that Monday, because we have to go to that Wednesday. We fly to Romania. So after Texas.
So hold on, are you going to do like a 2-minute posing routine?
No.
Can I guide you, like pick the music?
No, and I'm just shout out to Nick Strength and Power because you keep saying I'm guest posing at this thing. I'm not guest posing. I'm not putting on trunks. I'm going to actually be. I'm there as a
he's there as a-
representative. Yeah. So we're having a meet and greet. I'm doing a seminar with Neil Hill, and I'm going to do some presentations of trophies. And maybe that time I'll get up there and hit a pose just for you. But it's, I'll show the good stuff, not the bad
Just
stuff.
for Milos.
When you're in this kind of shape, and this is Mr. Masters Olympia in Romania,
I know the
they're
problem
going to
is-
forever remember this. I'm going
give them
the show.
I'm going for the fans, but
Yeah.
I just don't know what the flight's going to be like. And, we never know.
It's just
what,
long.
Yeah, it's
a long trip.
It's a lengthy trip for
24,
us.
24 hours to get there.
I'll bring you a couple of diuretics next time.
I'm sure we can get him in Romania.
I actually don't hold a lot of water when I fly, so let's see what the food is, though. It's the eating. Will I eat on the plane?
If
is the
you-
question. I'm not bringing 12 meals with me on the plane, that's for sure.
If you didn't take a diuretic for this appearance that you just posed with Regan, then you definitely don't hold water.
No.
Yeah, but he also didn't fly. He drove.
Yeah.
Well, I don't hold water.
Matt told me the secret is Jay was peaking for that moment.
No.
No, really. That kind of just happened. You
Hey,
didn't know.
it's something to be embarrassed about. I would peak too if I'm
I
not
had
taking my shirt
I
off.
had carrot cake the night before and
Yeah.
sugar.
had some carrot and
low
sugar-free,
sugar. No, it wasn't sugar free. It was low sugar
Low
cheesecake.
sugar cheesecake, yeah. He did that for Lee Priest.
Did you ever shit load before the show?
No,
Never, ever.
I didn't
Nothing.
want to get the gut.
Yeah, never.
I was worried about the gut.
I did once and I got the
Mistake,
gut. I
yeah.
had a goddamn Buddha butt.
Yeah, it's
I'm
hard.
serious.
You can't just really have that offset of all the food, But we appreciate you
Alrighty.
coming
Yeah.
on, dude. And
Oh, I forgot. my
let's see
coffee.
what. Let's see.
Yeah, there's your coffee you keep
Yeah,
complaining
are
about.
we gonna go to see Regan?
Yeah, we can go right now. Yeah.
Appreciate you guys so much. For you guys, make sure you guys share, comment. Make sure you guys comment below. What do you think of Hunter and how it's going to be a comparison with Andrew Jack? And we'll see you for the next episode. Thank you guys so much.